like fun, cool, interesting stuff, you have to go down to Melrose Avenue, because that's where all the freaky stuff is. And moderately freaky stuff. So check it out. Yeah, and I go there, yes. Not because I'm freaky, but because I want to wear freaky stuff. See, it's kind of an illusion, you know? It's like you put on a vampire night, you know, a day class or a night class uniform, not because you're actually a vampire. You just want people to think you are. Yes, sir. Soundman's got a question. The question is, do you want me to roll off a little bit from 90K down? No, I'm sorry, just kidding. What's your question, sir?
How was the recording process for Vega? Because I know he only had like little.
That sounded just like him, actually. Well, you know, I'll be honest with you, dude. What's your name?
Joshua.
Joshua, first of all, thank you for your help with the tech today. Give Joshua a hand. Joshua, when it comes time to show video, I hope you'll take their ears off and blow their hair back. I'll be honest with you, Josh. That was a long time ago. I try very hard to recollect what it was like that very first time recording, and I can't. It was so long ago and so many recording sessions ago. I just remember it being really strange because I'd never seen my voice come out of an animated character before. And I'll tell you what else is strange is I was looking, several months ago, I was looking for a copy of that Street Fighter, because back then they would give you a copy. If you worked on the show, they'd give you a copy of it. You know what they gave me a copy of? VHS, because they didn't even release on DVD. That's how long ago this was. They would release the episodes on VHS cassettes. So I have a VHS cassette somewhere, I think, I hope, of the Street Fighter series. But then I found out that it was released in the UK. And so I thought, oh, dang it, I'll never find it now. And last year, I was at a convention in London, and a kid came up with a spool of magnetic tape that was about a ½ an inch wide. And I'm like, what is this? And he goes, this is Street Fighter 2, one of the episodes that you were in is Vega, and I just wanted to give it to you. And part of me was like, thank you. And part of me was like, why did you take it out of the case? Now I can't watch it. But anyway, so I know it's out there, but I don't have much recollection of it, except, you know, let me tell you this. I had been writing and singing and recording in studios for years before I started voice acting. So I kind of had there was a little bit of comfort, you know, I recognized and was comfortable and knew about, you know, headphones, fancy, expensive cardioid microphone, and the basics of recording. Some people, you know, when they come in to do an audition or something, they've never been in, ever been in a studio setting before, and they don't really understand like mic technique and pop filter and all that kind of stuff. And so it takes a little getting used to. I'd already been used to it, so that wasn't too strange for me or foreign to me. But the whole concept of matching a character's mouth movements while you're still trying to act was very new. So, question, who's got a question? Yes, sweetie.
How do you manage to look so young and handsome?
This is a brilliant young lady right here. Did you notice that? I sensed there was an aura about you that said, brilliant, brilliant. I have no idea how to answer that question. See, because if I answer it, it kind of presupposes that I agree with you, which I don't. So you know what? I just I try to exercise, and I don't eat. Well, yes, I do eat pretty bad. No, I don't. You know what? You know something funny? I'll tell you something funny. I hope this doesn't make him mad. How many of you have ever seen The Never-Ending Story? That movie, Never-Ending Story. That song, right? You can't get it out of your head. Main character, Atreyu, the cute little boy. He's 12 years old in that movie. Well, now he's 40, and I just spent 2 weeks in Australia with him. We were at a convention, and like Christopher Lloyd was there. Doc Brown, you guys. Marty! Yeah, him. And people from Battlestar Galactica and Game of Thrones, and like there was like 10 or 12 of us, and we hung out. all for 2 weeks. We were all the foreigners that had been brought over to be at this convention. Well, one of the guys was Noah Hathaway, who played Atreyu. And he was there, signing autographs when he was a cute little 12-year-old, and he's 40 now. And we were kind of hanging out, became buddies, and hitting the jacuzzi, and at night and everything. And he's like, "Man, how come you don't look your age? What's up, man? How come I look my age and I'm 10 years younger than you, and you look, you don't look your age?" And I said, "I don't know." And he goes, "Well, did you ever do drugs?" I was like, "No." And he goes, "Did you drink?" I'm like, "No." "You smoke?" "No." "Well, there it is. No wonder I don't look." So children, young people, if you want to take care of yourselves and you want to feel good and look good when you're old like me, make sure you don't abuse substances. Don't do it anyway, but I think at least that's what Atreyu says. So, yes, my dear. I just fell in love with you for saying Star Trek. You guys, can I nerd out for a second?
No.
As much as you guys enjoy anime, video games, stuff like that, my passion when I was a little boy was the original series of Star Trek. There is nobody trust me, who learned anymore, memorized anymore, fanned out, nerded out, spent more time obsessing over Star Trek than I did when I was a little boy. In fact, I even now have Star Trek trivia contests at conventions where I get the fans to try to ask me questions and stump me with questions from the original series, and they can't do it for the most part because I memorized the show. You understand? I mean, I'm not exaggerating. I memorized the episodes, like word for word, when I was a little boy. I loved it so much. Well, long story short, I've partnered together with 3 other guys, and we have started a new web series that will be premiering, actually we're going to be premiering the first vignette with a little dramatic vignette, like a little teaser, in less than a month. At Shore Leave, which is a big Star Trek convention in Baltimore. I'm going to be there, and another one of the cast members is going to be there. But let me just tell you guys, be watching out for it. It's called Star Trek Continues. It's easy enough, right? StarTrekContinues.com. Star Trek Continues. And we have a 10,000 square foot facility in Georgia that we are currently rebuilding the entire soundstage from the original series of Star Trek. We're talking like the bridge, the big long bending corridor, briefing room, sick bay, transporter room, captain's quarters, everything. And I am going to get to fulfill a childhood dream of playing Captain Kirk. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. So, I hope you'll watch it. And don't worry, I'm not going to do Captain Kirk like that. I won't do him like that. But I've got, and here's the cool thing. There are some other fan series out there, but they're all amateurs. None of them are like professionals. And my entire cast are made up of actors. So we're going to have like really good dramatic stories. A couple of voice actors playing Spock and McCoy. And they're actors first. But you would know them as voice actors. And here's 2 little fun tidbits for you. You can tell your parents if they're Star Trek fans. Does anyone here know who played Scotty in the original series of Star Trek? No, you're not. James Doohan was his name. Guess who's playing Scotty in my series? Chris Doohan, his son. How freaking cool is it that the son, who literally used to be on set with his dad when he was 9 years old, he and his brother would go to the original sets. His dad would take him to work when he, didn't have any place to put his kids. He would bring him to work. And so he's playing his father's role. How many of you watch Mythbusters? Guys, I love Mythbusters. Well, Grant Imahara from Mythbusters is playing Sulu. Awesome. So we've got a great cast of people. Keep your eyes open for Star Trek Continues, okay? Yes. Oh, yes. Can you see my pants? That's weird, isn't it? Well, here, I'll walk over here. Who's got a question? While she's looking at my pants. She's checking out my pants. Yes. Was there ever a character I auditioned for? All the time. Was there ever a character I auditioned for that I was afraid I wasn't going to get the part? Yeah, there have been a lot of characters that I auditioned for that I wanted to get it and I didn't. Or I hoped I wouldn't get it and I did. And there have been some that I just didn't even audition for because I didn't even want to be considered because a little bit too for me. But yeah, you know what? With every actor, anybody will tell you that the vast majority of things that you audition for, you don't get. That's just the sad truth of it. There's a voice actor who once said in a panel that when he goes into an audition, he tries to read for every single role, even if he's not right for it. He'll read for everything. Because, as he puts it, if you throw enough spaghetti against the wall, some of it's going to stick. You know what I mean? Like if you audition for 10 things, you got a better chance of getting picked for one of them than if you go in and audition for 1 or 2 things. So there are always those characters. In fact, there are characters that I would have loved to have played. But you know, I have to, as an actor, especially, you guys will learn this, is if you're interested in acting, the more that you try out for things, you have to let go of those things. You can't hang on to it too much because it'll really kind of drive you crazy. You know, you do your best, you give it your best shot, and then, you know, I'll tell you a funny story. Speaking of best shot, I went in last week to audition for this new show, and I had just come home from a convention, and my voice was shot. I didn't sound like me, and I didn't have as much flexibility and control of my voice as I normally do, and I knew it. And I got in there, and I tried my best, and I did not feel good about the audition. So I left, and literally an hour later, I called the studio and I said, "Can you send me the audition sides, the little audition lines, and can I record them again and just send them to you? Like, I'll record them at my home, and then I'll send them to you. Because I want, you know, you want to put your best effort forward." And I knew that what I'd done in the studio was not my best. And so the next day, when I felt a little bit better, my voice felt a little better, I recorded them all again and sent them in. So, you know, you just do your best and then you just kind of let it go. That's what you have to do. Because as most actors, professional actors will tell you, like 90% of acting is learning to deal with rejection. And you know what's funny? I just thought about this. People that get into acting and performing are by nature often insecure. Right? I mean, think about it. They want so desperately some kind of validation. They want to stand up in front of people and perform and have people go, "Yeah, that's amazing, yay," or laugh at a comedy that they're in, or something funny they say, or cry when they're doing something, you know, deep and emotional and sad. So it's interesting that actors, people who gravitate toward acting, and especially who end up being professionals because they've been doing it so long and this is what they want to do, it's so funny that they would gravitate toward a profession that would, how do I put it, that would deal such heavy blows toward their ego when they're already insecure by nature. You know what I mean by that? It's like, it would be like if you know you can't swing a bat, you know, and they force you to hit in the, you know, the cleanup hitter position, like the big one where everyone expects you to, you know what I mean? It's like you're already kind of insecure, and then you go and audition for things, and you don't get cast. You get rejected. Isn't that interesting? That you would gravitate toward a field that would actually play on your weaknesses and your own fears. And as an actor, you have to just learn to let that kind of stuff go, because, you know, you're not going to get cast most of the time. Yes, sweetheart? You can always have a hug. Everybody gets hugs. Didn't you know that? The sound guy's getting a hug later, I swear. We're all gonna go to Genghis and hug the waiters and the waitresses. Come here, run up here and give me a hug. Can you glomp? Hit me, come on. Oh. Thank you. Yes? When I first heard that there was going to be more Full Metal and that we were going to be doing it, what was my first reaction? This was my first reaction. Oh no. Because the first series was so awesome. And I really was a little bit scared. I was a little bit nervous because, you know, what are the chances that you can recreate something that was as good as the original? It doesn't happen very often. I mean, you guys know a lot about movie sequels. That's all you have to say. You know, they make another movie on because they make a sequel because the first one made them a lot of money and the second one's horrible. You know what I mean? Sometimes the first one's horrible, but then they make a third one, which is even worse. You know what I mean? And so when I first heard that they were making more Full Metal, I was like, oh no! I mean, what if it's not as good? And I don't mean me, I mean everything. What if the story's not as good? What if the music's not as good? What if the voice actors don't do as good a job? What if the writers don't write as good a script? What if the animation's not as good? Well, you know what I'm saying? There's so many things that would have to go together to make it really good. And if any one of them was bad or weak or crummy, then you know you risk it not being anywhere near as good as the first one was. It's like if you get up and again, a sports reference, but it's like if you get up and you hit a home run for your team, right? What happens next time you get up? What's everybody expecting you to do? Hit another home run, right? And that just doesn't happen very often. So I started it with a good bit of kind of fear and concern. But shortly after getting into it, like just really pretty quickly after getting into it, I started falling in love with the characters and really got excited about the new story. Ed meets new people, he goes to new cities, and there's all these new adventures, and I just kind of fell right into it all over again. And I'm happy to say that the consensus with most people is that Brotherhood is in many ways even better than the first Full Metal. But at least it turned out really, really good. And so I was very grateful for that, because I certainly, entered into it with a bit of trepidation. Yes, sweetie? What was my favorite moment in Full Metal? Oh my gosh. Oh, ha. Well, I think it would probably be impossible to pick just one favorite moment because there were so many great ones, If the show were only 12 episodes long, I could probably pick one. But the fact that there was the original series and the games and the OVAs and the first movie and then the second series and OVAs and another movie, it would be impossible to pick a favorite moment. But I will tell you in general, one of my favorite moments was any of the scenes between the brothers when they were alone. Like the quieter, more emotional scenes. You know what I mean? Like usually when Ed's running around out with the other state alchemists, or if he's fighting homunculi or whatever, he's got all this attitude, right? He's smart aleck, he's rebellious, you know what I mean? He's kind of smarmy and makes fun of things, and he's got this attitude, this arrogance. But when he's alone with his brother, then you get to see the real Ed, which is he's not quite so sure of himself. And he's a little scared about whether they're going to do the right thing or what's going to happen. Those are the moments that I love. I love those moments between the brothers when Ed is a little bit more real and a little bit more honest about himself and his fears. I love those. Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. You. Yes, go ahead. I was looking at him. Go ahead. Thank you for asking. How does my songwriting process start? Well, you know what? After 20-some years of writing songs, it starts every conceivable way. Honestly, Really, I mean that. Sometimes I'll sit down